All right, class. So we are at our final translation for Stage 8 of Cambridge Latin. Um, this is nicely rounding out our stage about gladiators. And this translation is called Pastor et Leo, which means the shepherd and the lion. Now, this story, a little bit of background, this story is loosely based on one of the original stories or fables of Aesop, who's a Greek didactic fable writer. So he wrote stories that were supposed to teach people. And when I was a kid, I learned the Aesop's version of the story, which was a lion and a mouse, that would teach you about the reciprocal nature of if you give, then someone will pay back that kindness. This version of the story with the shepherd and the lion, it does exist in Roman stories. There's a writer named Alice Gellius who wrote a book called Attic Nights, which is a collection of a whole bunch of stories, and, by the way, is a source that is often used in the VCE unseens. So knowing stories from Alice Gellius helps because they might be someday an unseen on that year 12 exam. So this version is a little bit different, though, and we'll talk about that in just a bit, about how it's been changed and why. So let's start the translation. Olem pastor in silva ambulabat. Okay, first sentence. So olem, that's an adverb. It means, well, if it's a story, it's once upon a time, right? Once or once upon a time. Pastor, so this is our nominative subject. It's a third declension. And it means shepherd. So once upon a time, the shepherd. In silva, this is a prepositional phrase introduced by in, and we know that in can take an ablative. So this is why it's orange right there. So in silva, so in the forest. And then our main verb for this is ambulabat. And we know because of that ba in there, this is an imperfect tense verb. And ambulo means to walk. So ambulabat means that he was walking. So let's put it all together. Once upon a time, a shepherd was walking in the woods. Okay, next sentence. Subito, pastor leonem conspexit. All right, so subito, we've got another adverb here. It means all of a sudden or suddenly. Pastor, another nominative subject, means obviously shepherd still. And then leonem. So we know that leo, it's another third declension word. A leonem, therefore, with that M ending, has to be an accusative. So whatever the verb is, which we're going to get to in a second, the pastor is doing it, and the leonem is receiving the action. So let's look over here. Here's our verb at the end, conspexit. So this is con and spicio. So we even get the word conspicuous from this, meaning easily seen. So conspexit is a perfect tense verb, and it means he saw. Right, so let's put it all together in correct order. Suddenly, the shepherd saw the lion. He saw the lion. Okay, next sentence. Leo tamen pastorem non agitavit. All right, so Leo, this is the nominative form of lion, so it's a third declension still. And he's therefore the subject of the verb. Leo, the lion, is the thing doing the action. Tamen is another adverb, and it means however. And then pastorem is, we can tell that pastor, again, third declension with that em ending, is going to be the accusative form. So it's going to be the direct object of our verb. And then non is another adverb. It's negating the verb. So it's whatever the action is, it's not happening. And then agitavit. So agito means to, we get the word agitate from this, but in this context, it means to chase or to hunt. So if a human is doing it, it's hunting. If an animal's doing it, it's chasing. So let's see. We know that our subject is Leo. So the lion, non, did not, and then agitavit, chase. And then who did he chase? The pastorem, the shepherd. Tamen, however. So let's put that all together. The lion, however, did not chase the shepherd. All right. Next sentence. Leo lacrimabat. So again, we see Leo here. It's the nominative third declension. So he's the subject, the lion. Lacrimaba, this is an imperfect tense verb from lacrimo. Notice we've got, it's imperfect because that ba right there. So the lion was crying, right? The lion was crying. Pastor postquam leonem conspexit erat etonitus et rogavit. And we'll leave off what he asks down here for the next little bit. So postquam, that's an adverb. It means after or afterwards. In this context, it's just going to be after. Leonem, so a leonem, third declension, it is accusative, so it's going to be the direct object. Conspexit, we've seen this verb before, perfect tense verb, meaning saw. So after he saw the lion, and we know that it's an implied he saw because we were just talking about that pastor, the pastor being a third declension nominative subject. Notice that we've got a comma here though. So this pastor, this is not necessarily going with this little clause. Postquam it's an adverb, but it's acting as what's called a subordinating conjunction. And since it's set apart by these two commas, we know that it's letting you know that it's setting the whole time in which the main verb, right, these two main verbs are happening. This little clause here is called a temporal clause. It's a type of adverbial clause, meaning that the whole clause is letting you know when these two verbs, erat and rogavit, are happening. So the shepherd, after he saw the lion, and then going back to our main verbs, erat, he was, imperfect, erat is an imperfect form of sum. So he was atonitus, and this means astonished. Now notice that atonitus is nominative, right? It's a nominative adjective, what's called a predicate adjective, because sum, the verb sum, or its imperfect form erat, remember it's a copulate verb, and therefore it's going to take a nominative adjective to describe it. Just as we say that he is a doctor, so he and doctor, the erat or the sum is going to be equal signs. It's going to take two nominatives. Et, so this is a conjunction. It's letting you know that there's two verbs for this sentence. So he was astonished, and rogavit, this is a perfect tense verb from rogo. And rogo is the verb that we get the English word interrogate. It means he asked. So let's put it all together. The shepherd, after he saw the lion, was astonished and asked. Okay, and now what did he ask? This is inside these little parentheticals, and it lets you know that this is called direct speech. So this is the exact word that he said. Cur lacrimas leo, cur me non agitas, cur me non consumis. So cur is an adverb, and it's called an interrogative adverb. It's letting you know that this sentence is a question. So it's why, and then lacrimas is a present tense verb from lacrimo, and you can tell that it's a second person singular because it has an S on the end. All right, second person singular, and we've seen lacrimo right up here in the imperfect form. This right here, present tense. Why are you crying? And then leo right here. Leo it's a vocative form. So vocative. Remember that vocative is for direct address. So if you're addressing someone, use the vocative. Notice also that it's the same form as a nominative, but we know it's vocative from context. So why are you crying, lion? And then next sentence, same form. Cur, why? May, and may right here is accusative. We know that may is accusative because the nominative form of I is ego. Remember, just like in most people have heard of the ego from the word egotistical, or if anyone knows a little bit about Freud or maybe Jung, there's two early psychologists. They talked a lot about ego being the sense of self. So may is the accusative form, just like we say I in English is the nominative form, and me is accusative in English today. So why, me, and then non is another adverb negating the verb agitas. And we remember that agito from up here means to chase, and it's a second person present singular form of it. So why are you not chasing me? Why are you not chasing me? Okay. Next sentence right here. Kur, again, same adverb. Why? And then me, again, another form, accusative form of ego. Me, non, another adverb modifying this verb. Consumis, and we know that consumo, just in the same way that in English, consume means to eat. This is a second person present form of consuma, meaning why are you not consuming me? So why are you not eating me? All right, let's look at the next sentence. So Leo tristis pedem ostended. So Leo, again, another nominative form of this word, is a subject. And then tristis is a nominative adjective, and it's modifying Leo. And tristis means sad, right? So the sad lion, you could either translate this as the sad lion, or you could translate it like an adverb. So you could say the lion sadly. It's not directly an adverb, but you can translate it like that to make it seem a little bit more solid, a little bit more flowing in English. So the sad lion, pedem, and pedem is accused of direct object, right? It's another third declension. It's pes. Pes is the nominative form. Pedem is the accusative singular form, right? So it's the thing that is receiving the action of the verb, and ostended is the verb. And ostended, it means to show, right? We get words like ostentatious from this, ostentatious, which means very, very flashy, right? So if you're very flashy, you want to show off wealth or material possession. This verb is perfect tense, but the form could also be present tense. We just know that it's perfect because this other verb over here is perfect. And it has to match those tenses, but it could be present. Sometimes verbs will have forms that overlap, right? So sometimes you just have to tell from context what the tense is. So putting it all together, the sad lion showed, and then we would say his, put the his in brackets, showed his paw. Okay, next sentence. Pastor spinam in pede conspexit tum clamavit. We'll stop right there. So the pastor, again, nominative subject, the shepherd, spinam. So spinam is accusative. It's a first declension noun from spina, and spina means thorn. We get the word spine actually from spina, because spina, it's like a little thorn, so a little branch, if you will. So pastor spinam in pede. Now, in pede is a prepositional phrase introduced by in, and then pede is the ablative form of pace, so foot. We see the accusative here, we see the ablative here. So in, and then we'll put in brackets his foot, in his foot, conspexit, another perfect tense form of conspicuo, and that is he saw. Tum, then, so it's an adverb, clamavit. Clamavit, perfect tense verb of clamo, he shouted. So let's put it all together. So the shepherd saw a thorn in his foot, then he shouted. All right, and this is another bit of direct speech right here. So let's read this out. Ego spinam video, spinam ingentum video, nunc intellego. So ego is the nominative form of I. We saw the accusative form appear, may. So this is going to be the subject. Ego, spinam. So same form here. It's the accusative form of spina, thorn, video. Present tense verb. It's a first person singular, so only one person is doing it, and this is the subject. And video, just like we get the word video, like a video call, you see that person. Video is I see. So ego, video, spinam, I see a thorn. So the accusative direct object is thorn. Spinam ingentum, so this right here, another accusative direct object, spinam again. So the spinam, the thorn, and gentum, this is an adjective describing spina. And remember that engens means huge or big. So Video is the present tense verb used again. So I see a huge thorn. Okay. Nunc intellego. So nunc is an adverb, it means now. And then intellego means understand. It's a present tense, first person singular verb. So now I understand. We get the word intelligent from this because intelligent people, at least in theory, understand things. So next sentence, still in this direct speech. Tu lacrimas quod pes dolet. So tu is it's the nominative form of you singular. So only one you. Now remember that just like may, if it were te, it would be the accusative direct object, but tu is the subject. This makes sense because lacrimas is a second person singular present verb from lacrimo, meaning you cry. So you are crying, nominative subject, verb, you're crying, quod. We know that quod can be two things, at least right now. Quod can either be because or it can be which. And now because, it makes sense in context for this to be translated as because, we will translate it as that. You just have to kind of get a feeling of Latin. So this is a causal clause instead of a relative clause. So because pes, and pes is the nominative form of pede, and pedem means foot, and it's the subject of this present tense verb dolet. And doleo means to hurt or to be in pain or anguish or something like that. Because, and then we'll put in your there. But if you translate it with your, then put brackets around it. Because your foot hurts. Because your foot hurts. So let's put it all together. You are crying because your foot hurts. Okay. So end of our direct speech. Going back to the narrative. Pastor, so nominative subject, the shepherd, quod benignus et fortis erat ad leonem quote venit ad spinam inspexit. Okay, pretty long sentence there. So this quote right here, it's set apart by commas. Again, it could be which or because. In this case, we know from context it's going to be because. It's another causal clause. So the shepherd, because benignus et fortis erat. So benignus and fortis are they're both nominative adjectives. So they're both describing the pastor. And we know that they're predicate adjectives because erat. And erat is that copulate verb. It's going to take predicate adjectives. Remember that forms of sum are always going to be like equal signs. They're always going to take those nominative adjectives and nouns. So because he was, benignus means kind, et, and, so it's a conjunction, fortis means brave. So because he was kind and brave, ad leonem, so ad, and leonem, this is a prepositional phrase. It's a prepositional phrase. Ad takes an accusative of motion towards. So towards the lion, it's a third declension. So towards the lion, caute, cautiously. This is an adverb. An adverb, we translate adverbs always with an ly, or most of the time with an ly. Certain adverbs don't take an ly, like the word fast in English is an adverb, or it can be an adverb, but it doesn't have an ly. Most forms are going to have an ly. And you can tell in Latin, most adverbs have a long e or often an iter. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So cautiously. And then venit is from venio, to approach or to come forward. So he came towards the lion cautiously. Et, so another conjunction, and spinam, so that's still that accusative form of spinam, the direct object of our next verb. So the thorn inspects it. So we get the word inspect from this. So it's in plus spectare, specio. So it's in, look into, right? So he looked at the thorn. So let's put it all together. The shepherd, because he was kind and brave, cautiously came towards the lion and looked at the thorn. Also notice that both of these verbs right here are perfect tense. And this erat is an imperfect form of sum. So let's jump to the next sentence. Leo fremuit quod ignaus erat. Right, so the lion, nominative subject, fremuit, this is a perfect tense verb. He roared. Quod, again, we know that this quote is going to be because, from context. Ignaus erat. So nominative subject again, nominative predicate adjective. Once again, because we have a imperfect form sum, erat. So because he was. And then ignaus means either lazy or cowardly. It wouldn't really make sense to say lazy here. So you have to know in context that it's cowardly. And why is he cowardly? He's afraid of the strange man approaching him, and potentially the pain of the little thorn in his paw. So let's put it all together. So the lion roared because he was cowardly. Next sentence. Leo exclamavit pastor, ego perteritus sum quod tu fremis. So lion. This is another vocative. So it's a direct address. He's yelling at the lion. Exclamavit pastor. So this is a perfect tense verb, and pastor is the nominative subject of it. So the shepherd exclaimed. Ego perteritus sum. So I, nominative subject. Sum is the verb, present tense form of sum esse. So I am. Perteritus. And perteritus is another nominative predicate adjective with this copulate verb. So I am terrified. Absolutely terrified. Quod, another because tu, and then nominative subject just like tu lacrimas. So tu, because you, fremis, and this is the same verb as fremuit, but it's a present tense form, because you are roaring. So it's a second person singular because it has just that s there. If there were more than one lion roaring, it would be premistus, right? And it wouldn't be two. It would be wos. Remember, just like in French, vous, and also in French, tu. So if you've taken French, you'll recognize tu and vos instead of vous. So, putting it all together, lion, exclaimed the shepherd, I am terrified because you are roaring. Next sentence, sed te auduo ecce spina. Sed is a conjunction, and it means but. But te is the accusative form of tu. You, so you is the one receiving the action of this verb. And auduo, it means to help, and it is a first person singular verb. It means I help, right? And you can tell because it has that long O on the end of it. So, but I help you. And this can be kind of tricky because there's no form of you in the sentence. There's no ego. Remember that Latin sentences do not need an explicitly stated subject. The verbs give you all the information that you need to let you know whether it's who's doing the verb, right? So, but I am helping you, right? So, ecce spina. Ecce is just an interjection. It means look, behold, right? And then spina is the thorn. Look, here's the thorn, right? Next sentence. Postquam hoc dictit pastor spinam quam clareme extraxit. So, postquam, we see this word again. It means after. It's a subordinating conjunction. Its natural form is it's an adverb, but it's letting you know that this whole clause right here, postquam, up to dixit, is a temporal adverbial clause, and that the main clause right here is with extraxit, right? So between pastor and extraxit. So after hoc, and hoc it's an accusative. It's called a demonstrative pronoun. It means this, and it's sort of letting you know. It's pointing back to what he said here. So postquam, this thing, dixit. So he said, perfect tense form of dico. And we notice that, again, Dixit doesn't have an explicitly stated subject. We know that the pastor, the shepherd, is saying it, but it doesn't say that the shepherd's in the sentence. So we just have to know from context. After he said this, and then to our main clause, pastor, the shepherd, nominative subject, spinam, accusative direct object, the thorn, quam clarime. Now, when we see quam, usually with a form like clarime, right there, that long E, it's going to be a specific type of clause that is, it means as something as possible. It's an adverbial clause. So quam clarime means as quickly as possible. So when you see quam, know that it's usually going to be a construction where you say as whatever the noun is that follows, right? As this way as possible. So quam clarime, or not noun, whatever adverb follows. So quam clarime is as quickly as possible. Extraxit. This is a perfect tense verb from extraho. Literally means to drag out, but it means to pull out. So he pulled out the thorn as quickly as possible. So let's put it all together. After he said this, the shepherd pulled out the thorn as quickly as possible. Almost there, guys. Leo egnavus iterum fremuit et a silva festinavit. So Leo is our nominative subject, and then ignavus is an adjective that's modifying Leo. So it's the cowardly lion. Iterum, and iterum is an adverb meaning again. Fremuit, and we know that fremuit is the perfect tense verb, same as up here. Roared, so he roared again. At is a conjunction, meaning that we have another main tense verb, main verb that's going to come. A silva, so A is a form of X, and it means out of. And silva is the ablative form of silva. It's a first declension noun. So it's an ablative separation. So unlike this, in plus silva is an ablative of location. X plus silva is an ablative of separation. So from the forest, festinavit. And festinavit is a perfect tense verb. From festino means he rushed or he hurried. So let's put it all together. The lion, the cowardly lion, roared again and rushed from the forest. Postia. Postia is another adverb, and it means later. Romani, so this is a nominative subject, and it means the Romans. Hunc. Hunc is another form of this same word as hawk, and it's another accusative form, right? So hawk is neuter, and hunc is going to be a nominative form. And hunc is, in this time, it's not standing alone, but it's actually modifying pastorem, which is a third declension nominative, third declension accusative singular. Pardon me for my misspeak. So this shepherd, comprehenderant. So this is a perfect tense verb of comprehendo, and it means arrested in this context. So later, afterwards, the Romans arrested this shepherd, right? Quod, and we know that quod is going to be because, once again, Christianus, so predicate nominative with this form of sum, erat, so imperfect form of sum, because he was a Christian, right? So let's put it all together. Oh, actually, let's finish off right here. At, so it's a conjunction letting you know that there's another main tense verb. Eum is another demonstrative pronoun from is a. It is the way that we remember the first parts of a chart for this. You don't need to know that yet, but it means him. So it's an accusative because it has that M on the end. So him, ad arenam. So this is a prepositional phrase plus ad. So ad introduces an accusative of motion towards. So to the arena, duxerunt. This is a perfect tense verb from duco. And notice that it's a third person plural. So it's still going off of the Romani. So the Romani is the subject of both comprehenderunt and duxerunt, and it means they led him to the arena. So let's put it all together. So later, the Romans arrested this shepherd because he was Christian and led him to the arena. So this is true. There were a number of separate persecutions of Christians in the early period, when Christianity was still quite young and when it was not accepted by the Roman sort of elected power. There's a number of reasons for this, and we can kind of go into it. Mainly because the Christians refused to engage in ritual worship of the emperor. Something that I think a lot of the Romans didn't necessarily believe that the emperor was a god, but it was really more of a way for them to dedicate themselves loyally to the empire and to the government. Christians obviously refused to do that, and this caused a lot of issues, including many of them being executed or thrown to lions as a form of public execution, or in gladiatorial arenas. Now, the original version of this story in Alice Gellius, remember that fellow that we talked about when we were first introducing this, does not include the character as a Christian. In fact, it's a slave that's running away, who's then thrown to the lions. But the element of this character being created as a Christian was actually introduced much later by an English playwright named George Bernard Shaw. Although he didn't make the character a shepherd, he made him a tailor. And this character, who is present in Alice Gellius' story, his name is Androcles. So it's the story of Androcles and the lion. George Bernard Shaw, he's a very funny and good playwright. I highly suggest reading him. If anyone knows the musical My Fair Lady, it's based on a play of his called Pygmalion, which is also, it takes its inspiration from the classical world. So George Bernard Shaw, very good playwright. I also suggest some of his other plays like Major Barbara. Very funny fellow. But anyway, he introduced the Christian element to match the morality of his time, right? So let's keep translating. Postquam arenam intravit pastor spectatores vidit et valde timebat. So postquam is another adverb. It means after, right? Arenam intravit. So arenam is accusative direct object of intravit. Intravit is the perfect tense verb. So after he entered the arena. Notice that again, intravit does not have a explicitly stated subject. This we've got to sort of imply that from the main clause of the sentence, which is pastor spectatores vidit et valde timebat. So pastor is the nominative subject. It's obviously the shepherd, spectatores. So this is a third declension plural accusative. It could be a nominative because third declension nominatives and accusatives in the plural are the same. But we know from context that it has to be the accusative because vidit and timebat are both singular, third person singular tense verbs. So it has to have one subject, and that's the pastor. So vidit, perfect tense verb from video, he saw. Et is a conjunction, and valde, it's an adverb meaning greatly. Timebat is imperfect tense form of timeo, means he was afraid. So the shepherd saw the spectators and was very afraid. Okay. Next sentence. Tum is an adverb meaning then. Pastor, nominative subject. Bestias, it's a first declension, accusative, plural. So the beasts, vidit, another perfect tense form of video, he saw. Et, conjunction, letting you know that there's another main verb coming up. Clamavit, he exclaimed. So perfect tense verb. Nunc mortuus sum. Nunc is an adverb meaning now. Mortuus means dead, and sum is I am. So remember that mortuus is a nominative adjective because sum will take that nominative predicate adjective. Video leones et lupus eu. So video is the first person present tense verb from video, means I see. I am seeing. You can translate it either way. I see is probably better. Leonis, it is accusative, third declension, plural. So lions. Et lupos. Lupos is a second declension, accusative plural of lupus, which means wolf. So lions and wolves. A hue is an exclamation. It means alas. So let's put it all together. So then the shepherd saw the beasts and shouted, now I am dead. I see lions and wolves. Alas. Okay. Tum. Tum engens leo ad eum ruit. So tum is another adverb. Then engens leo. So leo is the nominative subject. It's a singular third declension. Engens is a nominative adjective modifying leo. Then a huge lion. Ad eum, so accusative of motion towards in this prepositional phrase. To him or towards him. Ruit. And ruit we know is a perfect form of ruo. It means rushed. So putting it all together, then a huge lion rushed towards him. Next sentence, Leo postquam pastorem ol fecit non eum consumsit, sed lambebat. So the lion, nominative subject, Leo, third declension, and then set apart, we've got a temporal adverbial clause introduced and subordinated by postquam. This adverb meaning after. Pastorem, accusative direct object. Ol fecit is our perfect tense verb in this subordinated clause. Smelled. And then we've got our next comma here. Non is an adverb modifying consumsit. Eum is our direct object. And consumsit is a perfect tense verb of consumo, meaning consume or he ate. Sed is another conjunction meaning but. And then lambebat is an imperfect form of lambo, and it means to lick. So he was licking. So let's put it all together. So the lion, after he smelled the shepherd, did not consume him, did not eat him, but was licking him. So we'll have to put lick in him in there, probably to make it make more sense in English. So it's weird. What's happening here? Why is the lion not eating him? Let's see. Next sentence. Pastor, nominative subject, atonitus. So this is an adjective describing the pastor. Astonished. Leonim, accusative direct object. So lion. Agnoit, perfect tense verb. Recognized. Et, conjunction, letting you know that there's another main verb. And dixit, perfect tense verb from dico, he said. So let's put it all together. The astonished shepherd recognized the lion and said, okay, here's our last little bit, teognosko, tu es leo tristis, spina erat in pede tuo. So te, remember that's an accusative form of to, so you. Agnosko is the first person present form of the verb, and agnosko means to recognize, right? So I recognize you. To, nominative form of te, right? So you, and then es, this is the second person singular form of sum, are, so you are, leo tristis, and these are both nominatives, nominative noun, nominative adjective. So remember that they're two nominatives because es is that copulative verb, so you are the sad lion. Spina erat, so the thorn, nominative subject, erat, the perfect form of sum, was in pede tuo, this is a prepositional phrase with locatival ablatives, in the foot. So tuo, and tuo is the ablative form of to. And in this case, it's indicating possession, in your foot. So let's put it all together. I recognize you. You are the sad lion. The thorn was in your foot. Almost there, last sentence. Leo iterum fremuit et pastorem ex arena ad salutatim duxit. So Leo, nominative subject, iterum, adverb, again, fremuit, perfect tense form of fremo, meaning to roar. He roared. Et, so it is a conjunction, letting you know that there's another main verb. And pastorem, accused of direct object. the shepherd, ex arena, so this is a prepositional phrase, ex plus ablative separation, from the arena, ad salutatum, prepositional phrase, ad plus accusative, meaning, so it's an accusative of motion towards salutatum, safety. Duxit, perfect tense verb, he led. So let's put it all together. The lion roared again and led the shepherd from the arena towards safety, or to safety. All right, guys, we got through that translation. It was pretty long, lots of stuff going on there, but interesting historical context with the history of that story. All right, guys, so if you have any other questions, as always, let me know, and send me an email, or we'll meet in class about it. Anyway, we're ready for stage 9.